Thanks, Derek. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Audit Committee meeting of the Levittown Board of Education. May I have a motion to reconvene the meeting? Mary Ann, can I have a second? Phyllis, all in favor? 6-0. We'd like to welcome students from Northside to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could all please rise.
Mr. Morlau. Mr. Morlau.
Flags here.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, everybody.
Thank you. Can we please have a moment of silence to remember all those fighting for our country at home and overseas, as well as to honor the victims of the conflict in Israel? Thank you. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Superintendent Wynn.
Thank you, Ms. Messina. I myself am going to turn this over to Mr. Fabiano.
He's going to turn that over too.
Thank you, Superintendent Winch. We are now meeting as the Audit Committee, and we have representatives from our external auditors, the firm of R.S. Abrams, Ms. Ali Battaglia, a partner of the firm, and her associate, Chris Schneider. Before I turn it over to them, they're going to make a brief PowerPoint presentation, and we'd like to leave a few minutes for questions by the board. I would like to thank the business office for all their work in getting it done this early in the cycle. That would not have been possible without the efforts of our school treasurer, Miss Linda Dolachek. And I'm not just saying that because she's in the audience. She truly made a difference. And so without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to R.S. Abrams.
Great. So testing sounds good. Again, I'll reiterate what Mike said and just say thank you to you, Mike, and you, Linda, and the rest of the business office for a great audit. Again, we were a little bit more aggressive this year in moving up the time frame of the audit and of the issuance of the audit financials. So props to everyone involved. Big lift and a good product at the end. So I will move on here. Most importantly, in terms of the results of your audit, I want to report that you got an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, the most, like the highest standard of opinion that you can receive. Moving on from there, we will speak to our management letter, which is one of the attachments that we left with you. So that will start with So it's a series of comments on internal controls over financial reporting, and it speaks to deficiencies or recommendations or findings that we have year over year. We are glad to report that in prior years, we have had multiple findings. This year, there was only one finding relating to budget transfers. Again, we've spoken with the business office. They're in agreement and understand what needs to be changed going forward. And then most importantly, if you were to look at our prior management letter and look at the current year management letter, we speak to the status of prior findings. There were several findings there, including some around reserves and fund balance, and those have been rectified this year thanks to Mike in the business office and with your cooperation in order to develop a fund balance plan and a reserve plan that is suitable to New York State's needs. So again, props to all for that. And then I'll reiterate too that there were no material weaknesses identified during the audit, which is another thumbs up. Anything to add there, Mike? Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to speak to the financial statements. So in the financial statements, which is the largest of the packets in front of you, this is what we report on every year. So we'll have, we issue two sets of financial statements. So one would be the full accrual financial statements, what you have in front of you here in these slides and what I'll speak to more generally will be your governmental fund financial statements, which is on a modified accrual basis. This is the basis of accounting that you're familiar with as it relates to the general fund budget that you develop and have the voters approve, as well as the other funds, including miscellaneous special revenues, which would be your scholarships and donations, and ECAF, your school lunch fund, your capital projects fund, your special aid fund for federal and state grants, et cetera, et cetera. So on this first slide here, we have a year-over-year comparison between your reserves and your other fund balances in the general fund. If I move on to the next slides here, if you're following up top, we have your other funds. So again, like I said, school lunch fund, debt service fund, capital projects, extra classroom, and scholarships. I'll shift back quickly to the general fund because I know that's the one that you're most focused on. So year over year, the general fund experienced a decrease of approximately $40 million in terms of your fund balance. This happened for a variety of reasons. Most notably, as you're all aware of, there was a large transfer out of the capital reserve to fund the capital projects that you have ongoing in the capital projects fund. In addition, if we're looking at comparatively revenues and expenses year over year, there's a series of items that change year over year. We have it summarized up here. So most notably, you'll see increases in revenues relating to real property taxes, as well as state sources. And again, explanations below as to why that happened. Again, most notably, you will see changes in other financing sources as well, with a decrease. That was due to prior year, those ARP and CRISA funds that you received due to COVID and the federal monies that were passed down to the districts. Shifting over to the expense and expenditure side, you can see a year-over-year increase. So again, a variety of reasons for that in the general funds. Most notably, as I mentioned, there's that large transfer that happened from the general fund's capital reserves over to the capital projects funds. In addition, in instruction, you see an increase there on that line of about $6 million due to routine salary and step increases, along with the district incurring additional costs for BOCES services and utilities. Before I move on from general funds, revenues and expenses or expenditures, anybody have any questions? Great. So moving on, this table on this slide presents a roll forward of each of your restricted funds balance items, so all of those reserves that you've had board approved and voter approved, inclusive of the capital reserve that I mentioned. So again, most notably, you see a large decrease, and that is primarily due to the transfer of the capital reserve monies that were funded in prior years, as well as funded in current year, and moved over to the capital projects fund. Again, just to reiterate what we said before about some of the reserve funding in prior years, we have made comments about the levels of funding of some of these reserves, but Mike and his team and you as the Board of Ed have worked to get those down to what are deemed acceptable levels by New York State Education Department. So again, congratulations there, and hopefully you can continue to keep those at reasonable levels going forward. Again, moving on to the other governmental funds, so I had mentioned them prior. We have the school lunch fund, which had a decrease of about $1 million. Debt service fund, which is used to pay off debt service as it's so named, which had a decrease because of a movement of those monies into the capital reserve and then to the capital projects fund. You have a significant increase in your capital projects fund balance, again, due to that same transfer that we had mentioned before. In the ECAF fund, you have a decrease due to expenditures exceeding revenues in your ECAF clubs as a whole. And then scholarships, you had a slight increase of about $9,000. Again, you had collections for scholarships in excess of the amounts that were paid out to students. That is largely what we're planning to talk about as it relates to the financial statements. Does anybody have any questions on the financial statements? Yes.
Because there was such a large transfer to capital funds, could Mike or somebody just talk about how we spent that money so the community can just remember, or we could just remind them?
Sure. Remember, we adopted a 5-year capital plan, which outlaid kind of our roadmap for prioritization of the projects that were most important to us, and The voters approved the $56 million proposition, so that money is currently being deployed as we get SED Facilities Planning to approve those projects and issue building permits. We will start to contract with and get these projects underway. One of the projects I know that has been highlighted in all of this that is included in that was the air conditioning projects at Summit and Gardner's, and we should be receiving those building permits any day, and we're very hopeful, I don't want to guarantee anything, that they will be fully functional by the next cooling season, May and June.
I'm just going to mention that the information that we've done multiple presentations on that 5-year capital project. I know you had mentioned about how would community members know what's coming. That's all online on the district website under the Board of Education page. All of our presentations from every meeting go on there. But because of the fact of dealing with all the regulations that are important to have, these things take a very long time to do. And so many of these projects, even like tonight, we'll be trying to get consensus on the Wisdom Lead Field. That is something that was mentioned in the capital proposition. But even after we decide tonight what we want to do, it will be at least a year before it gets approved, and then probably the following year the work will get done. So while it's very exciting to have all these projects, just unfortunately once you have to involve all the regulatory pieces of it, it slows everything down to a multi-year situation. So.
Right. And just to follow up on that, Todd, and to make clear, none of that money has been spent yet. That money was the voters approved to transfer it from various other sources and other reserve funds into the capital reserve. And once all the approvals go through and everything else, which again will be likely in 2024, those monies will begin to be spent on the projects.
I like to agree with you, saying that this is probably the best internal audit I've seen. When I first came on the board, and some other members came on the board many years ago, there were many items that were in the red, many categories that were in the red. A lot of the funding came from the property tax increase, and which is now 75% less than what it was 15, 16 years ago. The increase percentage I'm talking about. Mike, you've handled a lot of things through the state aidable projects, which brings another revenue stream in, which helps reduce the tax burden as well. These projects that you're doing here is...
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Oh, I want to thank you for your using BOCES aidable projects by giving us another revenue stream. I think they give us 62 cents on a dollar back, 60
That's
70 cents.
correct, yes.
So when we actually buy something, the air conditioning for the buildings, we're getting money back over an 18-year period, but it's a revenue source, and we didn't have this before. And these little things like that, besides we're making the buildings a lot better than what they were, our facilities much better, we're getting a revenue stream in return. So
Yes, that's
fantastic
correct.
work.
That's correct. So our projects are paying dividends both in improving the building and increasing building aid in subsequent years.
Also, back in the day, many of our reserves were bloated, overfunded, and that's no longer the case. This report is fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just curious, do we have the recommended amount in our fund balance? What percent are we at our fund balance? Do we know, Mike?
You're at the
or-
4%, right?
We
Mike?
are at the
Yeah,
4%?
You're at the
Okay.
4%.
It's exactly 4%.
Okay, that's
which-
great, because we were cited for that many years in a row. So that's great, thank you. Yeah.
Any other questions on the financial statements before I hand it over
But
to
not on
Ally?
the other.
One question.
Sure.
I'm
Like
new,
you
and
say,
I'm
Mr.
wondering if all this very big, thick book is meant to scare me off from wanting to do this, because I've been trying to go through this, and I know that I'll get it as we go, but I just have to say, whoa. I was like, I think they want me off, because this is like, I'm not an idiot, but this is very intense. So you guys did a great job, and I will get on board. So I just figured
Yeah,
I'd say that,
and
because
I-
if you try to scare me off, you almost did.
Oh, no, we don't want to scare you off. But basically, there's like two sets of financial statements. So it's the modified accrual. That's why we focused in on more the budget area and your reserves and funding plan. Then we converted to accrual basis. So we put on all your long-term assets and long-term liabilities. But we really want you to focus in on the general fund because that's what you really should be focusing in on. Okay, and I just want to thank Mike and Linda and the entire business office, and actually Bob, the attorney. I mean, great job by everybody. It was literally a collaborative effort. We all had to really roll up our sleeves and get this audit done, so in a timely fashion. So thank you to you and your team.
And thank you, to the two of you, as well as all of your folks in regards to helping us do this. One thing I just wanted to mention is that, the recommendation from New York State is that the audit be done before October 15th. And I think, Mr. Fabiano, you and I were going back, and it didn't look like that had ever been done, or at least wasn't done in the last decade. Typically, when I've spoken to the various business officials when I've been here, is that it's place is too big, it's just not going to happen. And when Mr. Fabiano came on board and we were talking about this, he said it's going to happen next year. And to move and do the heavy lift, like was mentioned, is a team effort with everybody involved. But I will tell you that it is a phenomenal feat to get this done in this size district before October 15th. And like I said, it is the first time that in any of our memories it has ever happened. And that is no easy task. And on top of that, even on when we talked last year about the recommendations, and we went through the lists, and it was not implemented, not implemented, not implemented. That's all clean. Like, that's all implemented, and we're moving forward. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by having a phenomenal business department. I know that not everybody's here from the business department. Belinda, I see you here, so thank you to you and for everybody there, and for your leadership, Mike, in getting us to be in the best place that we've probably ever been. So thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any final? Let me rephrase that. They're not final words. Do you have anything else, Mr. Fabiano, that you want to share? Or?
No, we'll talk a little bit about the movement of funds when we talk about the options over at Wisdom Lane. You noticed it's hard to digest everything on a slide. But we'll talk a little bit more about the infusion of additional money into the capital reserves.
We can't give you too many more props there, Mike. You'll be asking for a big raise. But great job.
Close that out.
Thank you again. And may I please have a motion to adjourn the audit committee meeting? Mary Ann, second. Christina, all in favor? All in favor? 7-0. Do I have a motion to convene the October 11th regular meeting of Levittown Board of Education? Peggy, second. James, all in favor? 7-0.
Yeah. Everything you could possibly get done.
Superintendent Winch, are you going to be welcoming our academic presentation?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We are. Sorry, we're good. We have the chart, the sign-in. Yes. Good. Perfect. Okay. So we are very, very excited tonight to have a very first academic presentation of the school year, and that is going to be with our students and staff from Northside Elementary School. And so at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Mortellaro to come on up front. If Mr. Mortellaro is here, otherwise it's going to be a very short presentation. Let me see if he's in. So yeah, let me.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming tonight. My name is Mr. Mortellaro, Frank Mortellaro from Northside School, the principal, and I'm very excited to be here tonight. I'd like to thank the Board of Education. I'd like to thank Central Administration, all our families, so much staff that came here tonight to support our children. From Northside, we're very excited. Northside's a happy place. When you come to Northside, you walk in the doors, you see a lot of smiles, you see a lot of people who are excited to be there, and that starts with me. I'm very lucky to be in that building every day and see these kids, and I think you're going to agree with me after you see them come out here and what they're going to do for you, with you, and for you tonight. And we started a program, and there's an initiative that we're running called Starts with Hello. That's why you see the shirt that I'm wearing today. I don't normally wear a T-shirt with a jacket, but I am today. And Start with Hello is a pretty cool program that we started this year, and it was a lot of fun. But I don't want to tell you so much. I'd rather have some really great kids tell you about it. So, Miss Emma Gonzalez, can you come on out? Start us out.
Hola, my name is Emma Gonzalez. Bonjour, my name is Braden Robar.
Ciao, my name is Hannah Bodis.
Zdravo, my name is Cameron Frieza. Assalamu alaikum, my name is Zohar Shah. Namaste, my name is Lal King. Konnichiwa, my name is Haley Guskos.
Merhaba, my name is Connor Stern.
Hello, my name is Kylie Perselli. Good evening to our Board of Education, President Ms. Jennifer Messina, Vice President Ms. Peggy Morangi, Second Vice President Ms. Christina Lang, and trustees, Ms. Marian Adrian, Ms. Phyllis Dalton, Mr. James Moran, and Mr. Michael Pappas. Good evening to our Central Administration, Superintendent Mr. Todd Winch, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, Dr. Zirianis, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Mrs. Debbie Rifkin, Assistant Superintendent for Business, Mr. Michael Fabiano, and our community members and families.
We are excited to be here tonight to tell you about a project called Start with Hello. Last week, Northside School kicked off this week-long initiative to help everyone feel a sense of belonging.
Each day, the students, faculty, and staff participated in a different activity to promote empathizing with others and creating a more inclusive and connected school culture. Oh no. We were all empowered to take meaningful action whenever we saw someone alone or in need. Monday was Meet and Greet Monday. Everyone wore stickers that said, "Hello, my name is." We practiced greeting as many people as we could, addressing each other by name. Some high-fived, shook hands, fist bump, or just said hello. Tuesday was Upstander Tuesday. Paper ribbons were given out to students and staff that were noticed helping others in need. They were given out throughout the week and hung up in the classrooms. Wednesday was Wear Green Wednesday. Everyone wore as much green as they could to promote unity and belonging.
Thursday was Turntable Thursday. Music promoting positivity, unity, and belonging was played throughout the day. Everyone enjoyed music during arrivals, dismissals, in phys ed, and in the cafeteria while they ate their lunch.
Friday was Moving Forward Friday. Moving forward, we will each learn how to say hello in a different language. Each week, we learn how to say hello. Behavioral research demonstrates that little things can make a big difference when it comes to social interaction. Did you know that smiling is contagious? Saying hello has similar effects, and so often we don't do it. As we walk around, we all have a lot going on inside our minds. Start with Hello Week involved doing the simplest things to start making the biggest of differences. This week made us feel connected, happy, welcomed, and loved.
In addition to our spirit days, throughout the week, 2 classrooms at a time were scheduled to meet in one of Northside's hallways in front of the letters E, L, L, and O that are painted on the wall. 2 students at a time were able to go up to one another, introducing themselves by name and sharing a fact about who they were. At this time, they put their hands out toward one another and formed the H and hello like this. We learned so much from doing this and felt so happy to meet someone new. So we'd like for one of you to come up and experience being the H and hello with one of us.
So at this time, we have Kylie, who would like to grab someone special from the audience to practice being the H and hello. Very nice. Very cute. Good girl. So Northside is always doing everything we can to be a place of inclusivity, welcoming everyone who walks inside of our doors. And this was the first year that Northside tried out this new initiative called Start with Hello, and it most certainly accomplished our goal of making everyone feel happy upon entering our building. There were so many smiles and so many hellos during this week, and it was a really wonderful way to kick off the school year. So it's something that we're definitely going to continue moving forward. Throughout the school year, we always have building-wide initiatives going on, so it's not just in September, but through September to June. So one of our programs is called Action. It's our building-wide character ed program. The acronym stands for Acceptance, Compassion, Trustworthiness, Integrity, Optimism, and Being Nice. Students and staff are all part of this program, and it really builds upon intrinsic motivation where they love being nice to others and welcoming and tolerant to one another just for the sake of feeling good about themselves. So this is something that daily, weekly, and monthly we have activities running from September to June to continue accomplishing the mission that Start with Hello kicked off our year by doing.
Over at Northside, we also have a special sanctuary where we have a pond and we have our feather friends, our ducks, who our students love very, very much. And it's basically a really unique and thoughtful environment for our staff, students, and faculty to take a break, have a mindful minute, just really be calm and soothe throughout their regular day. Students have the opportunity to go outside and read to the ducks. Sometimes teachers take the time to do read-alouds in the courtyard. And I know myself and Ms. Romano do take our students out there as well just to hang out and have a moment where they can be outside and, you know, calm down with the sound and just with the company of our friends.
So this is it for us. We're not going to talk anymore. So I just want to add that, as you can see, Northside is a place that is determined to really make sure that everybody feels included and a sense of belonging. So without further ado.
Thank you, and always remember to say hello.
What a great job, huh? How about another round of applause for our Northside students and staff? We're going to take some photos here, so I'm going to ask the board to come on up and join them. Let's just center this a little bit here. Sure. Good. So if the board members can go right in front of the sign, but behind the students, and then the students we can just kind of center, right? Does that work? I guess center, right? I'm not a photographer, so
Do you want to actually have the board like split a little bit?
whatever you think is the best. Sure. You're going to get that in the photo.
Thank you again to everyone that came from Northside to support the students and their wonderful presentation. That's all right. I get it. I would like to have everyone recognize the creative and beautiful art that display from the students at Summit Lane. They have some really creative art. It really brightens the the boardroom. Who is it, Christina?
Frida Kahlo.
Oh, there you go.
It's the, yeah.
And Superintendent Winch, am I giving it over to you?
Yes, you are. Thank you, Ms. Messina. So it's really hard to kind of like be the next act after that because that was so amazing. But tonight we are happy and excited to spend a few moments to recognize our Board of Education since October is Board of Education Month. School board members take on one of the most important civic responsibilities, overseeing the education of our community's youth. Boards of education guide their local school systems and ensure public schools are flexible and responsive to the needs of the community. School boards are composed of volunteers who are not compensated for their service. I figured I'd just say that because a lot of times people ask me, how much do you get paid? But you are not compensated, not financially. They are individuals within the community who dedicate their time to improving public education. School board members statewide collectively oversee nearly 2.3 million K-12 students and $85 billion in budgeted spending. In Levittown, we are lucky to have a seasoned Board of Education team with a cumulative experience of over 70 years. Our newest board member, Ms. Phyllis Dalton, has been with us for several months. Thank you for not being scared away. All right. Our Board of Education President, Ms. Jennifer Messina, with 7 years. Yes, you can clap. Second Vice President, Christina Lang, with 8 years. Trustee Marianne Adrian with 9 years. First Vice President, Peggy Marengi, with 14 years. Trustee Michael Pappas with 16 years. And the winner of the prize is Trustee James Moran with 25 years on the Board of Education.
And he's only 32 years old.
So tonight we'd like to take a moment to express our heartfelt gratitude for your unwavering commitment to education in our community. Your dedication, hard work, and tireless efforts in shaping the future of our students have not gone unnoticed. Your role in overseeing our educational system is invaluable, and it's clear that you prioritize the well-being and success of every student in alignment with our mission statement. Your decisions and policies have a profound impact on the lives of our children, and we are fortunate to have such a dedicated board. Through your leadership, our schools have seen positive changes and continuous improvements. The countless hours you've devoted to this cause are a testament to your passion for education and the betterment of our community. Much of that can be seen in the recently adopted Board of Education multi-year strategic plan. Please know that your work is deeply appreciated and admired by parents, teachers, and students alike. As we move forward, please remember that your efforts may make a significant difference in the lives of our children and the future of not just our community, but our world. Your dedication to education is a beacon of hope, and we are fortunate to have you leading the way. And as we start tonight, let's just look briefly at our screens. We did some additional messages to our Board of Education to thank you really for all that you do. So, Derek, if you could just start going through them. We had all of our electronic signs throughout the district changed to send message of appreciation throughout the various buildings, including our building right over here, MacArthur High School and Division Avenue. We have, wait, hold on, Derek, in the back of the room, you will see the posters made by our elementary schools through the students and the art departments. So you see all of the various posters that are made from those schools thanking the board for their efforts. Go ahead, Derek. So this is the poster that you can't see from all the way back there. These are some additional ones. We had signs put on all the school buses thanking our Board of Education for the dedication that they have for our students. Thank you. And so that's just a little bit of some of the gratitude going around for our Board of Education this month. Tonight, we are delighted to be joined by several elected officials. Earlier this evening, we were joined by Nassau County legislator and Levittown graduate John Ferretti, who shared his thanks directly, as long as thanks from County Executive Bruce Blakeman with the board. So thank you to them. You have the certificates from them at your seats. I also do see several guests as well, elected officials. So at this time, I'm going to ask State Legislator Steve Rhodes to come on up to share a few words with us. Oh, you're all going to come up? Oh, you're all going to come up. So we have Legislator Senator Steve Rhodes, we have Assemblyman John Mickelin, and Town Clerk and alumni Kate Murray. Are there any other representatives from other elected officials that want to join at this point? No? Okay. All right, good. Yep.
Thank you. Now that I've had the opportunity to get to work on a state level, I can attest to the fact that for the school board members, today is the only recognition that they ever get. It's an incredibly difficult job, and it's especially been incredibly difficult over the last several years, dealing with often inconsistent guidance coming from the state education department, directives that are coming from the state, funding that is sometimes unequal and inadequate, putting pressures on the school district in the formulation of their budgets. But behind all of it, behind all of the work that they do, is their passion and their love for the kids. And you see by Northside Elementary's presentation here today the beautiful work that they do and the end result of all of that hard work. And I know on behalf of myself and on behalf of the State Senate, and I'm joined here by John Micklin, our State Assemblyman, by Kate Murray, our Hempstead Town Clerk, who are going to say a couple of words themselves. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for taking on that mantle of service, using your gifts and talents to try and make our corner of the world and our piece of Levittown here a little bit better for our having been here. You do an amazing job, and thank you.
Thank you so very much, Senator Steve Rhodes. And I want to take the moment to thank each and every one of the school board members for what it is that they do. Before I was a state assemblyman, I was actually on the Island Trees Library Board. And even though that's a smaller scale, I understand what it is that they do. They volunteer their time to come in here more than once a month. This is just what you see. They have emails. They dedicate a lot of their life to serving the Levittown School District. And they do this selflessly. They don't get paid. They come here and they do their duty because they love their school district and they want to make this the greatest place for each and every one of the students, the parents, and the residents at large. So thank you for what it is that you're doing. On behalf of the State Assembly, I too wanted to come here and congratulate each and every one of them. God bless, and here is Town Clerk Kate Murray.
Well, I'm playing, what do they call that, cleanup batter or something. But anyway, it's so nice to be able to recognize and congratulate what I say is all my friends. I've known all of you for 1,000 years, and this is really personal for me because almost 50 years ago, my father was the president of the Levittown School Board. And my mother would jokingly say every once in a while, after the daily delivery of stacks of paper, does that sound familiar at all? Stacks of memos and documents and everything else that they had to know and learn about and educate themselves about for their school board meetings and everything in between. My mother would every once in a while say, Norm, I hope you have time to go to the job that actually makes us some money. With 7 kids, you have to think those ways, right? But so I know firsthand as a K through 12 graduate, and it's nice to be back in my old high school, that the school board members, they give everything to the kids, to the school district, to all of our faculty, to everybody who has a part and has a role in educating our children, which is, of course, priority number 1. So I want to thank all of you from a personal perspective, having seen what my dad went through for a number of years as a trustee and then moving through the chairs to president, what effort you all put in on a daily basis for our children. I'm a grateful graduate. Thank you for what you do for our children today and going forward. God bless.
Thank you very much. Once again, State Senator Rose, State Assemblyman Micklin, and Town Clerk Kate Murray, thank you very much for sharing your words with us. We love certificates. If you would like, you want to leave them with me and I'll hand them out. Does that work for you? How do you want to? Oh, do you want to? Let's do a photo. Can we do a photo first? Let's do a photo first, yeah. Good idea. Am I good? Oh, there we are. Okay. Just that you know, at your seats, you also have certificates from the Honorable Elaine Phillips from the County Comptroller's Office, and Senator Mickelin, as much as he was here, he dropped off certificates earlier for you. You have that. Two of our Board of Education members have also been recognized this year from the New York State School Boards Association for their dedication to participating in leadership development opportunities. So congratulations to President Jennifer Messina and Second Vice President Christina Lang. Our three bargaining units, ALSA, LUT, and CSEA, would like to thank the Board of Education for all their support always. I know that I saw Mr. Ravina. If you can just wave. I thought I saw you somewhere. There he is, Mr. Ravina, president of ALSA, with Mr. Zampaglione, I think saw her wave also. Mr. Caulfield, I don't believe is here. He had a family emergency, and so he apologizes. And Mr. Dewey, I don't think, is here as well. But they tried to think about what kind of gift to show appreciation. And since our board members attend a great deal of professional development workshops, as just noted by the certificates, as well as board meetings and retreats, the three bargaining units have provided each board member with a gift.
Thank you, sir. You may wrap them down, pass them down. Thank you. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, this is exactly what I need on my room. These are gorgeous.
So to be specific, since I didn't finish it, have provided each board member with a personalized folio for their use. So many thanks to unit presidents John Avina, John Caulfield, and Tom Dewey. So thank you. And as we always say, it does take a village to educate children in our community. So tonight, representing PTA Council, it is my pleasure to introduce President Beth Lyons and First Vice President Kathleen Pedrick.
Hi, everyone. The school board members are citizens whose decisions affect our children, what they learn, who will teach them, and what kind of facilities house their classrooms. School board members make policy, approve contracts with employees, choose curriculum, adopt budgets, and select a superintendent, treasurer, and business manager to administer the district. They do these tasks with emphasis on what's best for the children they serve. Being an effective school board member is no easy task, particularly in today's climate of change and challenge. School board members need to be knowledgeable about many complex educational and social issues and carry out initiatives and directives from both federal and state governments. To face these demands of governing our public schools, they give countless hours of personal time. In recognition of our Board of Education board members, and on behalf of the Levittown Council of PTAs, we would like to gift the Wisdom Lane Food Pantry $175 in supermarket gift cards as a thank you for all you do for our children of Levittown. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for all of you do, but your recognition's in March, so, you'll have to wait. At this time, I would like to welcome up from Salk Middle School, Mr. John Zampaglione. Okay. So Mr. Zampaglione and Mr. Ravina, a joint presentation from Salk and Wisdom Middle Schools.
You stand right over here, ladies. All right.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight, Mr. Z. I appreciate it. And as any good speaker, I'm going to turn it over to the kids who will be the star of the show. And we'd like to welcome students from the Salk Honor Society and the Wisdom Lane Student Government.
Mr. Avina, can you have them just stand facing this way so that everybody can see them? Thanks. No, well, they could also face them, so if you put them on the side. Yeah, right. There you go. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Caden Triolo, and I am this year's co-president of the National Junior Honor Society at Salk Middle School. I would like to introduce a few other students with me tonight. Christian Marmo, co-president of the National Junior Honor Society at Salk Middle School. Abby Jimenez and Emily Sudberg, members of Wisdom Lane's student government.
On behalf of Salk Middle School and Wisdom Lane Middle School, we would like to recognize and thank the Board of Education for supporting our students and our education.
We know that the job of the school board member is a tough one. Thank you for the long hours that you spend in meetings and on committees, helping schools and pushing for policy and programs. And thank you for attending both Salk and Wisdom events to cheer us on.
This year, we would like to present you with the gift of a Salk and Wisdom sling backpack, as well as Salk and Wisdom quarter zip pullovers to show our appreciation. Thank you for helping to make Levittown schools the best that we can be.
On behalf of all of Salk and Wisdom, thank you for everything that you do.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. At this time, I'd like to welcome up the principal of Division Avenue High School, Mr. John Kasha.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us here. I also would like to call up Mr. McElroy and Mr. Fazio, our two outstanding assistant principals who are also with us this evening. Just before I hand over the microphone to our student council president, Jessica Bandal, I just want to extend a heartfelt thank you for everything that you do for Division Avenue. We've gotten to know you over the past decade, which is something else, and I really cherish the relationships with each and every one of you, because everything you do is on behalf of the kids, and we all share that same mission. So thank you very much for everything that you do. Now, to extend our gratitude is our student council president, Ms. Jessica Bandal.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Bandal. I'm the president of Student Council at Division Avenue High School. I'd like to introduce my fellow officers, Ariba Khan, Senior Vice President of Student Council, Vidhi Patel, Junior Vice President of Student Council, Manav Dubey, Sophomore Vice President of Student Council, Secretary Denise Chin, Senior Class Liaison James Tang, Treasurer Arthur Battalion, and Dragon Path Coordinator Sardar On behalf of the students and staff at Division Avenue High School, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to the Levittown Public School Board of Education for your unwavering dedication and support. Your tireless commitment to education has paved the way for our success and the success of future generations. In Levittown, we understand that success isn't just about individual achievement. It's about coming together as a community to serve others and help those in need. This is precisely what we aim to do on October 20th at our upcoming Dig Pink volleyball fundraiser. This event embodies the spirit of Levittown, where we stand together to make a difference, especially when one of our own is impacted by this awful disease. We're excited to extend a warm invitation to each and every one of you to join us at the Dig Pink event on October 20th, when we are also welcoming MacArthur High School. It's an occasion where we can unite as a community to raise awareness and support for breast cancer research. Together, we can make a meaningful impact. As a small token of our appreciation for the board's continuous support, we have prepared Dig Pink t-shirts, a small treat, and I made a donation to the Side Out Foundation for Breast Cancer Research on your behalf. We hope you wear these shirts with pride, knowing that they represent a gratitude for your tireless efforts on behalf of the Levittown community. In closing, let us remember that success isn't a solitary journey. It's about teamwork, dedication, and service to others. Qualities exemplified by the Levittown Public Schools Board of Education every day. We are immensely grateful for your commitment to our community, and we look forward to seeing you at our Dig Pink event on October 20th. Thank you for your time and unwavering support. Together, we can continue to achieve great things for Levittown.
Thank you, Jessica. Great job. If you could just now, please. Yeah, go ahead. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Kasha. I also saw Mr. McElroy and Mr. Fazio. Just wave and say hi. Thank you for joining us tonight. At this time, I'd like to welcome up the principal of MacArthur High School, Mr. Joseph Sheehan.
Okay, good evening, everybody. On behalf of my two assistant principals who are here with me tonight as well, Ms. Ambery Rayo and Mr. Terry Ryan, we would just like to extend our sincere appreciation for everything you always do for us and your unwavering support that you have given us not only this year, but over all the years. I've been here 17 years. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with all of you, and I just sincerely appreciate everything you have always done for us. But who better to further express our sincere appreciation, and on behalf of all the members of General Nation, I have my phenomenal senior class officers here with us tonight under the leadership and guidance of our dynamic advisor, Ms. Bernadette Rolson. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our senior class president, Ani Anastopoulos. I know I messed that name up.
Good evening. My name is Ani Angelakis, and I'm the senior class president for the MacArthur High School class of 2024. I would like to introduce the other class officers with me this evening. Sarah Keeley, vice president, Nicole Stuckenschneider, recording secretary, Grace Huggard, corresponding secretary, Lena Guzman, class treasurer, and Olivia DeMarco, the advisor to the superintendent. On behalf of the students of MacArthur High School, especially the senior class of 2024, we would like to thank you for your service to our school district. We are excited to be here tonight and have this opportunity to key in on some of the highlights happening at MacArthur. As seniors, we are excited about some of our tried and true events, such as our annual Pink Out game happening tomorrow night at 6 p.m., and our homecoming happening next weekend, which will include our pep rally, homecoming parade, and football game. We are looking forward to seeing you like we do at all of our school activities, the many plays, concerts, and events hosted by the Generals. The students at MacArthur always look forward to seeing you and know what an indispensable part you play in the Levittown community. We look up to you as key leaders and role models, volunteering your own time to build a wonderful community, and as a result, we have also started contributing our own volunteer hours by organizing our holiday food drive and helping collect toys for the needy. We've also jumped full force into the many clubs that provide a service to the community, such as the Recycling Club and the Key Club. The students of MacArthur know that being a key contributor to the community means that it takes countless hours and evenings away from home. Please know that your time and dedication to the students and community of Levittown are greatly appreciated. When thinking about a gift to convey our appreciation for all the time and effort put in by the Board of Education, we wanted it to be something that could hopefully make getting home at night a little easier. Thank you.
We have some more. We can send that over to you. I have actually some.
Thank you again for everything. Thank you, Mr. Sheehan and General Nation. I see several other administrators in the audience up there. If you could just wave and say hello so that everybody can see you, and thank you for being here tonight with us. I know that your students did the posters and they did a phenomenal job, but obviously we do not want to leave out our elementary principals and assistant principals. So thank you very much for being here tonight. We appreciate it. What's that? And Mr. Marangi, who's in the front. Thank you for your support, Mr. Marangi. Thank you to all the organizations who attended tonight so they could share their appreciation. As one final thank you to our Board of Education for all that you do for our schools, our children, and our community. Your contributions are immeasurable, and we look forward to a wonderful school year under your guidance as we continue to support this year's theme of #Success at LPS. Thank you. I think I'm still on. Yeah. Okay. For those of you that might have homework to do, if you don't want to stay, we won't take it personally if you decide to leave. This would be the time. But feel free to stay. The last time that we met on the 27th, we briefly spoke about field options at Wisdom Lane Middle School. And since we did not reach a consensus at the meeting, we figured we would revisit what we talked about at that time. So, Mr. Fabiano, since you already did a lot with the audit meeting, I'll try to take this, and you can add in anything I miss. So, for board members who were not here at the last meeting, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. So, Derek, if you just move on to the next slide. So, the options of the Wisdom Lane field are related to the audit meeting because a lot of the comments in the audit meeting were that we had a capital proposition and transferred money from various reserves as well as other funding sources into a capital reserve that's going to be used to do a 5-year capital project plan. There are a variety of things in that plan. The plan's online. It was supported by the community during the capital project, the capital proposition, and it is in alignment with our strategic plan that was adopted by the board. Part of the capital project plan is to do enhancements at the field behind Wisdom Lane Middle School. You can go to the next slide. That is an aerial view of the field that we're talking about behind Wisdom. You'll see the baseball field on the left, the softball field on the right. you can go on to the next slide there. Thank you. So what was voted on was to do upgrades at the field. And so in that plan really was very specific about the installation of a competition track. We did receive a grant from County Legislator John Ferretti to rehabilitate the baseball field on the left, which was about $250,000. Is that what the grant is for, Mr. Fabiano? So that will be included in this. But there were other possibilities that can be done with that field. And as we mentioned last time, this is kind of like one of those things of like, if we're going to rehabilitate the field back there, these are the options. And it's sort of like we should decide these things now and then move forward one way or another, right? If you're going to redo part of your house, then I guess you should look at what other areas you want to do on it and do it all at once. So all of these options that I'll talk about are paid for with the capital proposition. So there's no additional taxation or anything like that would be caused by any of these plans. Most importantly to understand is what was in the capital project definitely was a competition field. It's like that has to be done because that's been voted on. These other pieces are sort of like enhancements to that are covered by it, but aren't necessarily specified in it. So if you click on that, that's just a picture of the rendering in regards to the competition track. Wisdom Lane does have quite a popular track program with about 100 students, more or less involved at any given time. And right now they've been running on grass with cones, which is fine, but it really is time for them to get a track, especially since the students at Salk have access to the MacArthur track, whereas the Wisdom students do not have that access to Division's track. But these are the details about what would be required or involved with putting in said track. You can go on to the next slide. So that's happening regardless of our conversation tonight. So the question is, though, what about anything else around the area, right? And so basically the options with this project are to install the competition track and leave it as a grass infield, right? That was the $3.7 million. You could upgrade the grass infield to turf, which would be an additional cost of about $700,000. It is more than that, but I think it's whatever the trade-off is of what wouldn't have to be done with the grass infield, right? So that's the upcharge to be able to do that. You could also install 3 tennis courts. Salk does have a tennis team because they have access to MacArthur's tennis courts. Wisdom does not. Division does have a tennis team, but without tennis courts, it's really, and with our busing issues, really not practical to bus kids to Division for tennis. The other option is to have lights for that track and field area, which is about $1 million upcharge. So all these would be individual add-ons if any of them are done. All right. So the option basically for the board to decide is whether or not you want to just do the competition track with a grass infield, or do you want to do the competition track with a turf infield, competition track with turf infield and lights, a competition track with turf and with tennis courts, or any combination of that is really what the question is tonight. And so last time when we met, I think we had some conversations. We could not get consensus, and so we bring it back to the board now for questions and discussion.
Mike? Did you want to go first?
Good.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask, so for all of these additional costs, I know we always talk about what's aidable, what's not aidable. Are these additional pieces, would they be aidable in the end? Like, would we get money back on those?
Yeah, the entire project would be aidable so long as we tie this into an interior project in the building, and that's been the plan all along. So anything that would be added to it would be aidable.
Is this tied to the locker room or something else?
We're going to tie it. We're going to tie it to the locker room. Some of the interior work. That's the project we're going to do.
So I'm glad you brought up the thing about when we redo your house, make your home improvements. And I'm sure every one of us who has done that has said, I should have done this. I should have went out an extra 2 feet. But for some reason, you didn't. And I have a couple of things in my house that I wish I had done, and it's cost prohibitive right now. And I wasn't getting 62 cents on the dollar back. So my theory on this is the $2.4 million additional, you're going to get back about $1.5 million in aid. So it's $900,000. I think you're going to lament not doing it. I think having the track equalizes the two schools, Wisdom and Salk, and they should be equalized as much as we can. I just personally, my opinion is, and my opinion sways once in a while, but I'm pretty steady on this here. I think that we should go all in on this.
Do we have nighttime things? Because one of the things is lights. Do we have nighttime events?
Not at the middle school.
We typically don't have a lot of nighttime events. Right now, they don't have lights, right? I mean, I don't know if Salk plays under the lights. If they do, it's probably not often. You know, one of the things that we mentioned last time was the being that we've added on more teams, right? We now have flag football that we've added on, which is amazing. We are probably going to be coming to the board to look for JV flag football because, you know, once again, we talk about equalizing, like football has varsity and JV, and we definitely have enough interest with the girls for a JV flag football team. There is more use of the 2 turf fields at the high schools, which has relegated a lot of community teams to non-turf because it's just not available. And while the priority of the board is not to create fields for community use per se, there is the added benefit that even if, you know, like if the board decided to do a turf field, it would be something that's an enhancement to the community because you definitely would have groups like Levittown Soccer and so forth wanting to put in to use those fields that right now they don't have access to, except for like, I want to say like 10 a.m. on Sunday. There's not a lot of time anymore. But if you did lights, then that would be another field and would offload, I guess, some use on the other fields as well.
I tend to agree with you, Mike, that, you know, I have regrets too about expanding my Levitt house and only doing the front dormer. Now I can't never do a back dormer too. So yeah, I kind of agree. If we're going in, it's probably, especially since it's going to be aidable. I'm in agreement with you.
Peggy?
Yeah, I know I'm the one that's not in agreement, and but I just have to voice how I feel. I'm in agreement with the turf infield. I think it's a great idea, and that we already put the plans in, and that's already approved. I have problem with the tennis court. I don't think we ever did an interest survey, which I had mentioned once before, if there's that interest over at Wisdom. And the other thing that I have trouble with is the track and fields with the lights. It's great to have it, but in the long run, there is going to be a cost because it's going to be added electric, it's going to be added wear and tear on the field. There's going to be many things that, and I know we had talked about another option that I don't see there, is the option to get the guts put in for the lights down the road if we choose then to put it in, so then it won't be a huge expense of ripping up a field or whatever it takes. Of course, I'll agree with whatever the board would like to do, but that's my concern. And I know when we do have lights on the field, that causes more problems with people using the fields that's not supposed to be on the fields. I know, Mike, that we've had these problems before over at MacArthur and on Division. So those are my concerns. But like I said, whatever the board does agree with, I will go with. Do we know, did we price out the difference of the adding the lights versus just adding the guts that we would need to do the lights? Do we know the difference in cost?
Yeah, just prepping for the lights down the road would probably mean running conduit under the field. It would not be a tremendous expense. So.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just, I just wanted to answer some questions. We had talked about doing a full interest survey, but we didn't want to do an interest survey and then not have tennis courts because we didn't want to disappoint the kids. But I think when we talked about it, I'm figuring somewhere between 15 and 25. Is that about right, Mr. Ravina, do you think, in regards to tennis? Yeah. Yeah.
Christina?
Thank you. With the electric, I actually think we should have the lights personally, but we'll, you know, I do want to ask, one, will the solar panels cover that? If we, you know, we've been talking about these solar panels that I know are probably sitting up in SED, but now we're adding more lights. So would the solar panels cancel out that electric bill down the line? That's my one question. And then two, will the lights be facing into the backyards of the community members?
Mr. Fabian, if I'm correct, the way the solar panels are through the energy performance contract. So in reality, that savings from that is already factored into the energy performance contract. So it's not like there'll be, I guess, how long is the payoff for that? 15 years? Was it? Yeah, so yes, theoretically, the installation of solar panels will help defray the costs after the first 15 years, because the first 15 years, the savings is really going back to pay for the installation of the solar panels and all the other work through the energy performance contract. So long term, yes, but not in the short term.
But it won't, but do you think the amount of solar panels that we have will help absorb the cost of this electric bill?
Like I said, not at first. Potentially, I don't know how much the electric those lights use, but
Not that we're talking about to leave them on.
Yeah, so the way the energy performance contract works, the savings in electric with the solar panels and the more efficient LED lighting, those savings go to pay for the equipment that's being installed. It's really difficult to say. I could check with Johnson Controls to see if we could get some idea. As far as the second part of the question, my understanding is with the new technology and the LED, you could be standing at the pole with the lights and still be in the darkness. So there's a lot less bleed of, like, I guess, light pollution coming back at you. So it would be pointed directly on the field, and so only the field would be lit up. This will, all the projects that we have moved ahead on, we've adopted the CEQA motions. This is the one thing that won't be just a simple type 2. We will have to do a CEQA determination on the lights. So just
Can you explain what that is? I don't know what.
So the CEQA is the Environmental Quality Review Act, and projects are subject to a CEQA determination. Will the project have an adverse impact on the environment? And for most of the things that we do, they're designated type 2, no impact, negative declaration they call it. But we would have to do an actual CEQA determination on the lights. It's one of the few things so far. So you don't do it to replace a roof. You don't have to do it for public address systems in the building. But for lights, our architect has reminded me that we would have to do a CEQA determination on that.
And we'd also have to do, Mike, I believe, a environmental impact statement and study.
Correct.
Jimmy?
Although Peggy, I get your concerns with the electric. If by chance we were to do that plan and just put the guts in for now, there's a possibility that down the road, if you opt to put lights up, you're not going to have a project to tie that in. You won't get 8 on it. Is that correct?
That is a possibility. You'd have to find another project to do internally so that you can tie the lights to it. So that's a valid point.
Marianne? Mike? Your mic's not on. Sorry.
Can you get us the uses, kilowatt usage of Wisdom Lane and the production from the panels on Wisdom Lane? Or is it just a group production by the entire district? Is that how it works?
I believe it's broken down by building. They do detailed analysis of that. I will speak to the rep at Johnson Controls and see if we can get some type of measurement on that, and what the electric use is, possibly over at MacArthur for their field and those lights.
Okay. Hopefully that'll address your concerns. Thank you.
Marianne? Yay.
Thanks. Sorry, Marianne.
What?
Sorry.
That's okay. So thank you for all of this information. Just listening to all of it and listening to the concerns and the other input, I actually think it's a great idea to go forward with these 3 items. I think that it would give Wisdom students the opportunity to have the same access to what our other middle school has feeding into the high school. I know that particularly for the tennis courts, I know that the division tennis has been doing really well. I mean, I know they had one year where they aside from the fact that they didn't have middle school tennis to lean back on, they performed fantastically. So I would like to see this happen, so I would be a yes, just so you know.
Thank you, Marianne. I just want to get clarification on like what everyone was weighing in on. So far, I have Marianne, Mike, and Phyllis as saying do the 3 additional options. Is that correct? And Christina?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we do have a consensus. I just want to make sure everyone has provided their feedback and they feel like they've voiced their opinion. I just wanted to add, I'm in favor of doing the turf field. And the lighting now. I think that hopefully if we were to run conduit and then, in 5 years from now, let's say that it worries me that we couldn't be able to get aid back for it. And that the field at Wisdom is really tricky, having had 3 kids going through that school. The field after 2 hours of rain is not really great. So that would be like one of the reasons why I really would like a turf field. And I just think maybe lights, I always thought lights would protect a field. So I don't really know any data to support my reasoning, but I would be in favor of the 3 additional options also. Are we, Jimmy, does anybody want to weigh in?
Yeah, I'm in favor of all 3 options. Like I said, the only concern I had was that if we held off on the lighting, that it's a possibility we wouldn't get aid on it. And if you're looking 5 years down the road, you might pay $1 million for it now. 5 years from now, it might be $2 million, So I'm in favor of it.
I have a related question, but not truly related. First of all, my first question is, we put lights on the division tennis courts? Is that it? I'm sorry, yeah. Was that in the plan?
I don't believe it's in the plan. I think it's something we can do, because I know MacArthur has them.
MacArthur doesn't have the lights.
They have lights. They weren't being turned on.
There was only, if I remember, there was only 2 of the square box lights.
Oh, it's
up
not.
there.
They're not. It's not like football field lighting. No.
But, can you play? Can a team have a tennis match at night?
I know that I spoke with Mr. Snyder earlier this year, and we were going back and forth that the lights were on at a point in time, and then the lights were off because there were issues on the tennis courts, and so the feeling was to turn the lights off so there aren't issues. But then community members reached out saying that why can't we use the tennis courts at night? And so then we decided that because what happens is it's sort of like you punish everybody, right? So we put the lights back on. So I don't know. I don't play tennis. I don't know if you can play tennis there at night. But I don't know why we'd be turning the lights on then if you can't. So I do believe you can. But a division, I don't believe, has the lights.
Okay. I thought we discussed that at one point, getting lights at division.
It's very possible. I don't think that's a big job that we
No.
would have to put it in the capital. It could probably go in the regular budget in the capital line, right?
And MacArthur already has
Yes,
electricity
they do.
run to it.
Yes.
Well, we don't know if it's well enough lit to play tennis there in nighttime.
Yeah, listen, we can, Mr. Fabiano and I can get some rackets and we can go try it out, and then we can report back to see if it's worth putting lights at division.
Don't forget the shorts, too.
I would
Oh,
like to
no, no.
propose. I would like to propose a pickleball court too at one of those schools.
Right.
That would be a great idea.
I got you.
Board retreat.
Question, would this mean that people who do not have children in the school district would benefit from the tennis courts because we leave the lights on for people whose kids are older now? That's something that, to me sounds like a positive for us, because I hear a lot that I don't have kids in the school district. But having those lights at that tennis court seems to me, I don't know, maybe I'm not understanding it right. That would be a positive for people who maybe don't see us quite as positive as, I think it would be good for us if that was available.
Anyone else want to?
I would agree with that.
It's difficult to make decisions like this because we have to look at being fiscally responsible, right? And supporting our students and supporting our community. So it's not just a really always an easy decision. So we've been weighing back and forth on this. So I appreciate everyone kind of giving their opinions on about how we can best roll this out. And that's it.
So just
We
so
have a
that we're
consensus.
clear, administratively, then the consensus is to move forward with these 3 additions. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is all I have in regards to comments and reports. There's no follow-up to prior public board questions. Board questions have been answered.
All right, fantastic. We have to the comments and reports. I just wanted to say that I got to go to the opening ceremonies for divisions, what's it called? Homecoming. And it was really beautiful. The band they were incredible. Like, I was like moved and like captivated the whole time they were playing. So I just wanted to report that it was like, they really were incredible hearing them play. So I just wanted to, I don't know if anyone has anything to share, but before.
They're going to be at the Newsday competition October 18th. You can see their whole performance outside. I'm just saying, they're amazing. My son's in the band.
I have to agree with that. They were fantastic. And, we had to wing it because we weren't sure about the weather the week before and everything. It was that huge rainstorm of monstrous proportions. And it was calling for rain that night, but we did have a good time. We marched indoors. The kids had a fantastic, the band was unbelievable. The kick line, the cheer, everything was fantastic. Really good time.
Oh, is everyone good? All right. At this time, I'd like to welcome our new district clerk, Miss Melissa Dernan. It is great to have you joining us tonight. Welcome. And we look forward to many productive meetings ahead. Although Ms. D'Ambrosio is not here tonight, the board would like to thank her for stepping up in as district clerk since the end of October. Oh, yeah. End of August. It is the end of October. The work of the board went on seamlessly during this transition period, thanks in large part to her efforts. We are forever grateful for your work. Thank you, Randy. And at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Bob Cohen to administer the oath of office to Ms. Dernan.
It's fine, don't worry. Okay. So, please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Melissa Dernan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of district clerk
the duties of district clerk
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. We have any correspondence? No? No? We will now move on to our student liaisons. I'd like to first have Olivia from MacArthur. Olivia, what's your last name? I couldn't read from here. DeMarco, thank you, from MacArthur.
Good evening. Since our last meeting, there has been a lot of happenings in General Nation. On September 28th, we hosted an extremely successful and well-attended back-to-school night presentation. All teachers gave an 8-minute presentation to all parents that attended that covered each course's curriculum, grading policy, extra help sessions, etc. All parents expressed their satisfaction with what transpired and certainly joins the faculty and staff of MacArthur for an anticipated successful school year. As a result of the dangerous and torrential rain that we experienced on September 29th, our junior banquet unfortunately had to be canceled. However, a new date has been chosen and the junior banquet will now take place on Friday, March 15th. Please join us in hopes that we will have favorable weather for our juniors on this day. On October 5th, we conducted a district financial aid night presentation for both MacArthur and Division Avenue High School parents. Keynote speaker, Ms. Mary Lawyer, who is the Director for Enrollment Management at Siena College, presented to approximately 125 parents in attendance, where she discussed the financial aid process, changes to FAFSA, loans and grants, all for the purpose of enlightening our parents on the financial costs of college. Special thanks to our guidance chairperson, Mrs. Hammer, and all of our guidance counselors for bringing this presentation to fruition. We administered our first SAT exam this past Saturday, October 7th. Over 100 students took the exam, so please join me in wishing them all the best of luck for fantastic results. Upcoming events include Our huge Pink Out varsity football game tomorrow night against Calhoun High School. Kickoff is at 6 p.m., and all money raised will be donated to the Babylon and West Islip Breast Cancer Coalitions, which oversee the Levittown community. Come out and support the Generals and awareness for this great cause. On Saturday, October 14th, all juniors and select sophomore students will be taking the PSAT. Good luck to all of our test takers. On October 16th through 19th, all sophomore students will be participating in our Challenge Day event, which is a powerful and transformational presentation designed to help break down barriers and build connections. It is a day of fun, friendship, and new possibilities, and has been shown to create a safe and more connected climate for students to thrive. On October 19th, our marching band will be participating in the annual Newsday Festival at the Mitchell Field Athletics Complex. On October 21st, we will be hosting our annual homecoming parade at 12 p.m., where we will be assembling at Gardner's Avenue Elementary School. Traditional pre-game festivities begin once we arrive at our turf field. The Generals football team kicks off at 2 p.m. against Mepham High School. Please come out and join us on this special day. On October 26th, we will be hosting our Max Got Talent show. Lastly, please join me in congratulating an astounding 6 senior students who were recognized by College Board and were named National Merit Scholarship Commended Students as a result of their extraordinary results on last year's PSAT exam. They are Drew Atkins, Benjamin Campbell, Juliana Ervolino, Zarif Jamal, Christopher Lieb, and Sydney Packer. Congratulations and way to go. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I'd like to have Ronald Gray, Jr. from Division.
Good evening, everyone. In Student Life News, on September 13th, the Guidance Department hosted a college fair with 45 colleges and 3 branches of the military in attendance. The Guidance Department, hosted a second college fair on September 20th with 30 more colleges in attendance. Students were able to ask questions and speak with college admissions counselors from each school. Back to School Night was held on September 14th, and Division Avenue had the largest turnout in years. On September 22nd, the Student Council organized the annual Homecoming Pep Rally. Students and staff enjoyed a beautiful afternoon of competitions and performances, and the homecoming court, including the King and Queen and Prince and Princess, were announced. The homecoming game and parade were rescheduled for Friday, October 6th, with the parade being indoors at 5 and the game at 7:30. On September 27th, Division Avenue held a welcome breakfast for all new students. Students were introduced to key staff members, received a welcome note from one of their teachers, and the peer leaders led the students in an icebreaker activity to help the students make new friends. On September 28th, parents attended College Information Night at Division. The event was very well attended, and parents were pleased to have the opportunity to learn more about the application process, financial aid, and more. On October 4th, the Division Avenue community came together to support the students and staff members affected by the recent tragedy in Farmingdale. The Student Council sponsored a knockout fundraiser with all the proceedings going to the Farmingdale student and staff in need. In academic news, Alex Gow and Saida Narwaz were both named National Merit semifinalist. Allison Cha was named a participant in the NYSSMA All-State Performance Ensemble, playing the viola. This year, Division Avenue had 5 students selected for national recognition by the College Board. Allison Martinez, Carolina Juarez, Kennedy Allison, Matthew Vetter, Nicholas Crespo, and Nicole Morales. In athletic news, the fall season is in full swing, and several of our teams are very competitive and working hard with the hopes of making a playoff run, including the volleyball team, which is 12-0. Upcoming events are on October 18th, there will be a Newsday Marching Band Festival at Mitchell Field. On October 20th, there will be the Dig Pink fundraiser volleyball game. October 28th, there will be the CD Student Halloween Dance. November 2nd, there will be the Peer Leaders Blood Drive. And on November 4th, there will be the SAT exam held at Division Avenue High School. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys both did a wonderful job. We're now going to move to our public be heard portion of our meeting. We do not currently have anybody signed up. So we're going to move to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to separate out item number 18 from the consent agenda? Christina? Second, James. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Do I have a motion to accept items 1 through 17 on the consent agenda? Mary Ann. Second, Phyllis. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. Do I have a motion to accept item number 18 on the consent agenda? Peggy? Do I have a second? James? Any discussion? I will be abstaining from this vote. All in favor? 6-0. I don't, oh, I did. It's done. It's done. Do I have a motion that the Board of Education requirement of a 24-hour notice be waived for the addition of item number 20? Mary Ann, second. Christina, all in favor? 7-0. Do I have a motion to approve item number 20, which reads, recommended motion resolved that the board hereby authorizes the appointment of Barry Peak Esquire as the hearing officer with respect to a disciplinary hearing pursuant to Civil Service Law, Section 75, involving district employee number 8302. Peggy, do I have a second? Christina, any discussion? All in favor? 7-0. We're now to new business. We're good? Okay. Gifts to schools. Tama Imperial Star drum kit to be donated to Northside Elementary School from Marianne Mano, 17 Pleasant Lane, Levittown, New York. Thank you very much. A check in the amount of $300 to be donated to the Division Avenue Student Council from Long Island Track and Field, 350 Old Wills Path, Smithtown, New York. And a check in the amount of $50 to be donated to the Verity Scholarship Fund from Gina Interdonato, 750 Lido Boulevard, Unit 102A, Lido Beach, New York. And a check in the amount of $960 to be donated to Division Avenue Senior Class of 2024 from Everything Created Special, LLC, 1 South Haven Drive, Brookhaven, New York. Do I have a motion to accept these gifts with thanks? Peggy, do I have a second? Phyllis, any discussion? Thank you. Right, big old gratitude there. And all in favor? 7-0. Do I? Can I? Do you? And now we're moving on to ad hoc, which is Debbie. No.
Actually, I'm gonna do a little introduction, and then Dr. Zirianos will take over. But no, that's fine. Last meeting, we had a lengthy discussion after a presentation by Dr. Zirianos on modifications to our graduation requirements, and it was an excellent presentation. And I know for the board members who weren't here, I had sent home the information in the weekly report, just basically about the 4 areas that we were looking to make changes in. The board, we got consensus about making those changes. And so I know I'm stealing pretty much everything you're going to say, but why don't you then, because I know the policy itself is very different from the policies that we've typically had for graduation, because our graduation requirement policies have typically been very specific, whereas most districts, when we, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, and I do appreciate, it was great having the opportunity at the last meeting to talk about some of those recommendations. And in taking a look at the revised policy that you have in front of you, we did make it look somewhat different than it is now, and I'll kind of explain the reason why. So if you take a look at what we are asking to be represented in the policy, the first line being that the Board of Education is going to adopt what the New York State Education Department and the Board of Regents outlines. So not only is this perfect for what was in the presentation last month, where we talked about reverting to the 22 credits required by New York State, but this also, we won't need to change the policy should New York State come out with different requirements. So we're pretty much indicating in this policy that our first and foremost, we are going to be in Levittown. The Board of Education will be determining our graduation requirements based off of the New York State Education Department. The second item is the financial literacy requirement that we discussed last time. So in an effort to prepare our students, as we said, for their post-secondary life, we are going forward, we are hoping to require that all students demonstrate competency in a half elective credit in an approved financial literacy course. The board had asked at the last meeting, given how positive this potential change was, this addition to our graduation requirements. When I had presented at the last meeting, I had indicated that we would be starting this graduation requirement with the incoming ninth graders, and the board asked us to take a look to see if we could start that sooner with the current ninth graders, meaning that as they head to 10th grade, between 10th and 12th grade. I did have an opportunity to meet with our guidance chairs, special education chairs, as well as our math and business director, and we determined that we will absolutely be able to move forward with that requirement for our current ninth graders. So it was an excellent suggestion and recommendation by the board, and we are pleased to announce that we will be able to accelerate the timeline for that graduation requirement. In addition, the third request was that our students in grades 9 through 11 would be fully scheduled, and our students in grade 12 would go for a minimum of 5 periods plus physical education. This was not in the previous policy, and we do believe it is important to put the requirement in policy so that when our guidance counselors, our school counselors are scheduling students, that they can refer back to our Board of Education policy in ensuring that all students are meeting this requirement. So that is the recommended changes that we are suggesting to this policy.
And like I said, we have this on a first read. We would like to, at the next meeting, if there's no issues or concerns or questions, to kind of move past and just go to adoption, because we'd like these things to be in place before December, because that is when the scheduling starts. And our next meeting is in December, so it's not the worst thing ever, but it would be better to approve it at the next meeting so that the counselors have everything they need to start scheduling kids.
Yes, because we'd like to also promote this a little bit to the community, should the board adopt the policy, because we don't want the first time, even though obviously it's happening here at the board meeting, but we do want to find ways to communicate this so that when students begin the scheduling process, our families are aware of the changes that will impact future graduates.
I just wanted to mention that one of the things that was stricken from the current policy and now be removed is the students must successfully complete an interdisciplinary research paper to meet the graduation requirement. I just wanted to be clear that it was presented to us that research paper is now going to be embedded into all 4 grades of high school. So that's why it's being removed. It's not that we don't want anyone to be writing these research papers. They just, Dr.
Yes.
Zirianis had spoken about how they thought it'd be better if it was more gradual and each year. So I just wanted to be clear about why it's not in there.
Yes, and Dr. Slattery has already moved forward. She has a committee that was put together, 2 different committees, one on beginning to create the scope and sequence for research. They're getting underway. They'll get underway in November, as well as creating some of those elective options that we talked about in lieu of the research paper class. So those 2 committees will kick off their work in early November.
So if there's a student that's currently in a junior or a senior, so they still have to do the research paper?
Only our current seniors, before they graduate, will have to do it. This will go into effect, assuming the board approves the policy, next year. So next year, seniors will not. They will participate. I'm sorry, seniors.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that.
And I can tell by the shaking and your expression that you're thinking this is a good shift and a good change. Yeah. So that's a good endorsement. Thank you. But our current juniors will have next year in their standalone English class will focus on the whatever research continuum. So it won't be as strong as the students that will start this in 9th, 10th, 11th, but they will have their own separate within their standalone English class.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I have a junior, so I'm just trying to plan ahead.
I think that financial literacy piece is so critical. I think that it's really an area that we have to make sure that our kids know about. So much just goes like, what? Huh? Like they have no idea. So I think that I applaud that. I think it's a great addition.
And our students in our exit, as we presented last month in our senior exit survey that we did, many of our seniors, when we asked them for suggested future courses, many of them, it was our number one request was a course that would teach them about mortgages and car loans and student college loan debt and things of that nature. So, right? I should have just asked both of you. You should have been here at the meeting.
Just, is it okay? Okay. Clarification. So the students in 12th grade that'll be scheduled for a minimum of 5 periods plus physical education. Is that a Levittown School District policy that we're setting, or is it something that's surrounding ed law?
or
No,
regulations?
It's a Levittown school district. We currently didn't have anything. We had practices, but nothing that was official in policy. While we currently have, for the most part, 9 through 11 fully scheduled, meaning they could have a study hall, seniors, many of our seniors were taking just the required New York State. You have to take English, you have to take social studies in the 4th year, and you have to take physical education. But we felt like, and talking to all the surrounding districts, what their minimum, different districts, some have a full nine periods in senior year. Some have 6, some have 7. So we just felt like in talking and kind of looking at our needs, that 5.5 made the most sense for what we were hoping our kids would get out of their senior year experience.
And that was similar to what it was prior to COVID.
Yes.
During COVID and after COVID, that changed. We had suspended that rule, especially in the very beginning when, like we were looking for ways to decrease the capacity of buildings. And so it was like, well, we want students to take whatever courses they want, but we won't make people stay longer than they have to. But it is obviously time now to get back to, and most kids are scheduled like that, but not everybody is. It's time to put it back in policy and to enforce it that this is what you are required to do minimally. It does still, and I know I've had conversations with some of the board members about, there are some students who, like work a job. And I when I was a senior in high school, I worked. I left after the 6th period and I went and worked. We don't, as the one of the student presenters said today, that the path to success is kind of different for everybody, and we also want to make sure that we have options for those students as well.
Thank you.
Everyone good? All right. Go ahead.
I know we adopted schedules before, and so Ms. Rifkin, do you want to just introduce? I know there's somebody here that is going to be a new employee.
Sure. Dr. Muller, would you stand up, please? Dr. Robert Muller was appointed tonight as our Assistant Director of Special Education. So on behalf of the district and the board, welcome.
I know you were doing your own thing when you left, but you threw us all into a panic where we didn't have a conversation with you about staying, and then you left, and we're like, oh my God, where'd you go? We're like running around, so. I know we don't generally leave the table, and all of a sudden, Ms. Rifkin and I are both running around. Where'd you go? What happened? So
We thought we were hoping you didn't change your mind.
Maybe we got called by another district.
Yeah.
These times it's tough hiring people. So. But thank you. It's a pleasure to welcome you to the team.
Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome to the district. We have upcoming dates for our next meeting is November 8th is a regular meeting, and then December 6th is the regular meeting. Can I please get a motion to adjourn the meeting? Christina, second. Mike, all in favor, 7-0.